All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for My Hero Academia Season 2
Episode
finale.
25. Yeah,
25.
finale.
Here we go, guys.
So, the Stain copycats have shown up.
Yes. All the teacher-student fights are over.
Right. So
this has got to be some kind of like
anything
segue into whatever the next arc of storyline is.
Do you think we are going to get a cliffhanger?
I think they almost have to. There doesn't really seem to be any room for anything more than just kind of like setting up, like future stuff.
Yeah, because it wouldn't quite feel right if they brought in these characters and then just spent the episode like letting us get to know them. They have to have some kind of impact.
Some kind of thing happens.
Right. Even though the last episode was like kind of finale worthy.
Yeah, but focusing solely on the villains also doesn't seem like the type of episode this could be.
Right.
Because they need to find some way to see how the heroes are going to come up against this new threat.
Exactly.
And what will be the next step that they take in order to make that, like, you know, a thing. But also we need to see what next step the villains are planning. And I think maybe having it be a back and forth between the plans of important heroes like All Might and others versus, you know, people like Shigaraki, All for One, and really like what the overall direction is of these two forces of good and evil going forward.
Do you think we're going to get anything at the school of like the kids with the summer, you know, either the summer classes or like the vacation or whatever it was they had going on for if they ended up passing?
Maybe. I don't know. I think if anything we might have a little bit of them talking with Aizawa, but it won't be much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then just a little bit of a montage with Kaminari and
and Mina Ishido being like stuck in summer school. That would be funny. Yeah, but I'm hoping that this will be also the set to where they can transfer the story into, or transition the story into more of an ominous kind of, you know, what's coming kind of. I think that the kids haven't really realized that there's a war that's coming.
Yeah.
And maybe this can be that episode where they're like, the war is coming.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, without further ado, let's get into this episode and see what happens. Okay. More like creepy high school girl.
Yeah.
Blood loss, yep. I'm the vampire. Oh. What? Okay. Okay. Dabi.
Is he gonna try and kill one of them?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Whoa! Oh my gosh!
He's the babysitter.
Right.
I'm gonna go pout in my room.
What about this Toga girl?
Yeah.
Whoa. What? Okay.
Is it because they can't afford to have anyone?
Oh, gotcha.
Right, but they did good enough on the written exam.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another rational falsehood. Yep.
He just like, I worked so hard.
Our faith in you will waver!
That's right.
Oh my god. 1 week, okay. Hey! They go shopping together! Yes!
No.
Yeah. Right. Why would I do that? Ah, sure. They're taking this so seriously. Okay, so 2 hours. Oh, are they gonna go together?
うららかさんはどうする？僕はウェイトリストをちょっと重めの欲しいんだけど。私は虫除け。君、彼のことを。
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's okay, buddy. Oh, yeah. Some more people to see is really cool. Oh no! Oh, no way! No way! That's no way! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Deku isn't included yet. Oh, we don't see with the mask, the hands on. Oh! Oh my god! Holy crap! This is crazy. Oh my god! Holy crap! Wookiees.
Shigaraki is going to be beating himself up later, though, so much when he finds out that he has All Might's quirk.
Sure. Oh. He's going for some soul searching. While I flip off the camera. Jeez. Oh, wow.
でも見てみろよこいつら。いつ誰が個性を振りかざしてもおかしくないってのに、なんで笑って群れている。
Oh.
ってのはつまるところ。個々人のモラルが
Oh, they're getting into this.
するわけねえと思い込んでんのさ。捕まるまでに20。
Whoa, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Jeez. Yeah. Jeez.
I did not see this
I did
coming.
not see this coming either. Oh my gosh.
腹が立つのはヒーロー殺しさ。誰も俺を見ないんだよ。なぜだ。いくら脳が汚れようが、結局奴も気に入らないものを壊していただけだろ。俺と何が違うと思う。
Wow.
緑だ。
Whoa. He's gonna end up helping his enemy.
Uh-huh. She's going back to find Deku.
Hopefully. Or she'll see him from up here. She'll see him from up here. Or... No, it's too far.
No. She could totally see him.
Oh, she's going back though.
別に一緒に買い物とかそういうのと違う。そもそも別に同じヒーロー志望としてすっごいなってだけやし。戻ろう。いや全然あれ違うし。青山くんほんとちゃんちゃらおかしいよ。僕もヒーロー殺しも始まりはオールマイトだったから。やり方は間違ってても理想に生きようとしてた。だと思う。
なんかすっきりした。点が線になった気がする。なんでヒーロー殺しがムカつくか。なんでお前が鬱陶しいか。
You remind me of All Might.
気がする。 全部 そうだよな。結局そこにたどり着くんだ。ああ、話せてよかった。いいんだ。ありがとう緑谷。俺は何ら曲がることはない。
Oh crap.
暴れるなよ。死にたいのか。にある俺を生かしたお前の理想、信念、全部俺の踏み台。
Whoa, that shot is incredible.
No.
連れがいたのか。ごめんごめん。じゃあ行くわ。おったりしてきたらわかるな。
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he said his name.
俺は何が目的
Yeah.
なんだ。知らないな。
Oh,
そ
whoa.
れより気をつけとけな。次会うときは殺すと決めたときだろうから。
Holy crap. Yeah, and he's gone. Rampaging might. Oh, here we go.
うららかさんの通報により
Okay, good.
Alright.
一時的に閉鎖。区内のヒーローと警察が緊急捜査に当たるも
They could look at the cameras and stuff and find out.
見つからず。
よかった。無事で何よりだ。助けてやれなくてすまなかった。
いえ。
Yeah. The things he said.
Mm-hmm.
オールマイト。
なんだい。
オールマイトも助けられ
Yeah.
なかったことはあるんですか。
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
あるよ。たくさん。
Right.
彼が現場に来て救えなかった人間は
Hmm.
一人もいない。
Why are they having that said with that shot of All Might?
遅くなってしまう。
Yeah.
Maybe it's the previous One for All person.
Yeah.
When he fought All for
母
One.
さん。
Oh, Mom! They had to tell her about what was going on.
お母さん。
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, Mom.
ごめんね。大丈夫だよ。なんともないから。泣か
Oh.
ないでよ。
嫌に嬉しそうじゃないか先生。
Oh, here we
Okay.
ヴィラン連合が着実に仲間を増やしているからかね。
違うよドクター。信楽トム
go.
ラ
Ah, he has his
Ah.
conviction now.
Mhm.
その信念に賛同する者たちこそがヴィラン連合には必要なのだ。
She's so creepy.
全ては彼に決めさせる。助けを呼ぶなら当然助ける
Have。him decide
Okay.
everything.
そうなった時の準備もしている。
Whoa. Whoa.
彼が次の
Whoa. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Yo.
That episode is a surprise.
Oh boy. That was really good. I mean, the story actually that happened in it was very minimal. One of the things I think that was really good with this was they made this about saving people and what it means really, again, to be a hero.
Yes.
And
Right.
Shigaraki doesn't really know
What it means,
to be a
villain.
hero.
Well, or yeah.
Or a villain.
Right, exactly.
So he doesn't realize how powerful All Might is
Right.
beyond just his capacity. So when
Yep.
he asks him, what's so different about
Exactly.
us destroying
Yep.
the things that we don't
Yep.
like?
Yep.
The hero killer Stain, he's wanting to upset the actual illusion that everyone is operating under.
Right.
That this world is just and everything is
Right.
done right and heroes are infallible and all these
Yeah.
things. But now Shigaraki realizes he is going to target that similar conviction that Stain had about society being messed up, and he's going to target the root of it for the
All Might.
result of
Exactly.
society
Yep.
being upended.
Yep.
Which, if you think about it from a villain standpoint, it's very much kind of a suing terror kind of aspect, where he's basically
sure,
going
but-
to destroy All Might by destroying the things that he cares about, and then therefore bringing out All Might. It's kind of how the
Okay.
Sith deal with Jedi.
Sure, yeah.
Which there are a lot of Star Wars kind of tie-ins with this, so I'm sure
absolutely.
that's an aspect when they're thinking about the all-for-one Sith Master,
right.
Dark Lord of the Sith kind of thing. And he's letting his apprentice run wild, figuring things out.
Yep.
Survival of the fittest kind of style.
All with the hope that his apprentice will one day become
the next him.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about that later, but
yeah.
Shigaraki has a conviction now that he needs to effectively remove
He needs to destroy All Might. Yeah.
But not just destroying All Might, destroying what he represents.
Right, the image of him, yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's the true power.
Right, so what are the ways that they could do that? They could somehow reveal that he isn't he doesn't have he has his other form.
Right.
Like that would be a tip in the scale.
That would be one way they could do it. The other way they could do it is if they actually managed to do something to the UA students.
I think that's the obvious bit that's going to happen very soon.
It's the attack the Jedi apprentice, not the master,
Right, or even worse, you attack the civilians next to the Jedi.
Right.
It's kind of the HK-47 advice of when you attack a Jedi, you don't shoot your blaster at him. The next person I see shoot a blaster at him, I'm going to kill myself. Yeah. You shoot the friends next to him. You shoot those people. So Deku is obviously going to get targeted. They heavily foreshadowed that. And they're all going to be in one place away from the school very soon. It's kind of the same thing as USJ. Yeah.
That's true.
And even if they amp the security up a lot, the idea is they're at a place that's not UA. There's probably not going to be a lot of heroes close by.
Yeah, and when you think of a camp, that's a place that's kind of removed. So it would need to be something where they could easily get reinforcements or
just run away. In fact, they might
especially with Kurogiri being all portals. They wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
And if they get all of these new actually decent villains involved, they had that montage of showing all of the ones that were attracted by Stain's ideals.
Yeah.
If they end up getting more and more people like that are legit, not throwaway gangster thugs and stuff like that is what I'm saying. They could actually have legitimate threats. This guy with the stitched up face, I get the feeling he's insanely strong and that's why he's kind of cocky. But the thing is about him is that his quirk is not one that he can just show off or something.
Sure. Now,
but with the vampire girl, that's scary.
All right. So since they finished one semester and the vampire girl has a school uniform, do you think
she could infiltrate?
She will be the mysterious transfer student into UA.
Yep. She's basically oh yeah, I'm a regular kid. Here's my forged documents. Here you go. I'm legit.
And people would be like, she seems kind of off. Well, maybe she just needs a friend.
But what they could do then is maybe find a way to slip her into the school when they all come back from training camp.
Because once summer's over, it'll be a start of a new semester.
And at the new semester, that's where she could bump in.
Exactly, because then it would make sense for new students to actually come in.
That actually is a better idea. What if instead of having anything happen during the summer bit is more of a training arc, and back when they basically come back and stuff, they've got people that they send into the school.
Right.
And it's more of the in-school dynamic.
And that would be great, because not only would it give us more of the in-school dynamic, but by doing that, all the places in the hero course are filled up, unless there's some sort of new hero course or something, which I don't think they do. That would mean that they would start doing stuff that's outside of just their set of characters, which means we could get more
Class
from
2B.
Class 2B. We could get Shinso, Mei. We could get some of the different characters.
I think it's Class 1B. Or is it Class 1A and Class 1B? That
maybe it's just Class A and Class B, or Class 1 and Class 2.
Whatever. Yeah. Those people all being involved in the story more would be great.
Right.
I get the feeling, though, that Class B will be involved at the summer camp, though. That's the point of them going on it as well.
Right, it would make sense for them to be, although I think maybe the whole point of
the practical exam, if they were taking the same exam as them,
it would
make sense that they would go...
Right, but
they might go to their own summer camp.
I think they're going to their own one.
True.
I think the theory behind the class size is that's with like 20 people or
it's
something,
manageable by a certain number of
exactly,
people.
it's manageable. Whereas if you get more than that,
40,
that's
a
kind of
small
hard
crowd.
for a teacher, yeah.
Right. But having the villains brought in and giving their names and kind of a little bit of their like profiles, it's like, hey, I'm the networking guy. I just presented with you 2 villains. Give me my commission for finding villains to add to your numbers. I'm like, I want to be that guy. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I find heroes or villains or what have you for organizations. That sounds great.
That's what they really need. They need someone with the quirk of finding people.
That's a bit OP.
If the good guys got that,
that's really OP.
That would be so OP.
I think they could have it where it's like a bloodhound ability. Like their nose, they can smell anyone. It's kind of like Avatar's little sheer shoe thing where it can smell people a continent away.
Well, that still might be a bit OP.
But the idea is that they would still have to walk all the distance and trace it down and things like that.
Which would make someone with a warp gate easy to...
Insanely good.
Yeah.
Like they're that direction. They keep warping closer and closer. Which direction? Oh, course correct.
Or they find they're about to get close and then they just port to another continent. And then it's like, oh, okay, now they need to go for a couple months and go track them down again, and then they teleport somewhere else, and,
a warp gate evading the bloodhound person.
Yes.
I was like, how does that help find someone? Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could sniff them through the warp gate, but then they close it. Anyways.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I think also having someone that has a quirk identifier quirk. Yeah, like someone that has an analysis quirk where they just kind of look at someone and they go, okay, this is their blood type, things like that. Where their quirk could basically be those little in-between cards that they use in the episodes.
Yep.
And they could get all the basic info off someone.
They just see a crowd and a bunch of like data above the heads of all
It could
people.
be like you read parts of their DNA, That'd be really strong, but it wouldn't necessarily be good at all in a combat situation unless you were supported by a bunch of other people.
Now, okay, for this episode...
Yeah. Ugh. You're talking about the emotional tension of just him stumbling upon him there.
They did that.
Yeah.
Like, they did that. I was not exactly sure what they were going to do for this last episode. I'm like, I hope it's not a slower one, because they already did all the stuff that they
did make it a slower one, but they made it an insanely good slow one.
Yeah.
Except that the slow parts were painful because we were like, everything's going so slow. It's like, what's going to happen?
Well, right, and I would say in that sense, it's not slow because even though not a lot of stuff is happening, it's high tension moments.
I get that it's high tension. It still, to me as an impatient person, it makes time slow down because everything is so much more intense.
Exactly.
And also nothing is really happening except them talking.
Yeah.
But then when Uraraka had her, it's not like I liked him or anything, baka, and she, decides, I'm going to go back. I'm like, no.
Like
that.
That.
I'm like, yes, go back. But then I'm like, wait, this is not good. But then she went back and she had the very, wait,
what are you
friend?
doing?
No, it's not a friend.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you doing? And she's like, oh, yeah, you had a friend. You didn't tell me. And she's got this, no, I don't trust you. And she kind of, rotates around him, no, stay away. Don't. And then she went back.
And then he's like, next time I see you will probably be when I decide to kill you. And she's like, what?
And then of course, Deku's bold, and he's like...
Yeah, he called him out by name.
Shigaraki!
Yeah.
And then she's like... She realized who it was. And he's like, what is All For One planning? And he said, who knows? You know what?
I don't think Shigaraki even knows.
I'll bet Shigaraki doesn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I'll bet you Shigaraki has been put on this path as kind of a manipulative...
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of, All
the
For
hands?
One. Yes, exactly. The hands are that metaphor.
Yep.
He is being pushed down this specific path. He's still going on it at his own accord, but the initial act was a push from All For One.
Yep.
And he doesn't know that yet.
Right. And okay, so now can we talk about the whatever the heck that thing was that All For One had? So it looked like a Nomu brain.
It was a Nomu brain.
It was a Nomu brain.
But did you notice they were in tanks?
They were in tanks.
And plural.
There were a lot of them.
So that is his Nomu creation station.
Nomu creation station. Now he went up to the Nomu at the same time as he said he's going to become the next me.
No, I don't think he moved. I think the idea is that All For One was talking.
Okay,
but the camera
showed
moved that,
which just makes me wonder: is
He's talking about All for One.
He's talking about All for One.
Passing All for One down to him.
Right, but they did that at the same time as the Nomus. So the Nomus seem to be his experiment with putting multiple quirks into one vessel.
But Shigaraki
is not a Nomu.
Is not a Nomu. So will he become some Nomu All for One hybrid abomination? Or will All for One try to find a way around the multiple quirks problem in a different body?
Yeah, maybe if he transfers All for One to Shigaraki at that point, he'll be able to handle it.
Right.
But they have established, like they did with All Might passing One for All onto Deku, that the body needs to be ready. So maybe it's a similar thing. But I hope they don't change Shigaraki's design and just turn him into a Nomu, because his design is a really good one. It is creepy. It is scary.
What I think is going to happen, if anything, is he'll get a little bit bulkier. And his visage will get a little bit more terrifying. Not that he'll just be an enhanced version of Shigaraki. He won't be a Nomu Shigaraki.
The bare brain and
none of the bare brain stuff. Okay. What I think actually the Nomus is they are the build-up experiment towards the perfect experiment, which is Shigaraki.
Right.
And Shigaraki is focusing on Shigaraki's mind, his ideals right now.
Yes.
He's focusing on developing his internals.
Right.
His internals, so that his externals, his muscles and everything like that, his physical body will be ready to actually hold All for One.
Okay.
And all the powers that come with it. One of the things I'm a little bit worried about is the idea that All for One thinks that Shigaraki will last that long.
Yeah.
He's treating Shigaraki like this treasured possession. He's like, I will cultivate him.
But
I will save him if he needs me, but I want him to be the one carrying the torch. I want him to be running the race here. But he's going to stay in the background. So, if the story continues on, I think this story will... I mean, if the story continues on with Shigaraki being involved, I feel like Shigaraki will be endgame Deku versus Shigaraki at the end, with Deku being a fully realized one-for-all wielder, and Shigaraki being a fully realized all-for-one wielder.
Yep.
Where will current all-for-one be in the mix? Will he be dead?
I think it will be a dead thing. I think it's going to be something where... Basically, if you have the dragon fight and the boss fight, where the dragon is like the super powerful servant of the boss,
right?
Because All for One is planning on passing down to Shigaraki, it doesn't make sense that he would want to pass down completely. Maybe he has some kind of possession quirk, and he's trying to abandon this body that is no longer good.
Oh, but he needs to find a way that Shigaraki's body won't become a Nomu, so that when he passes it down. He will actually
that could be what it is.
Whoa.
Yeah, when he tries to possess people or whatever, do that, they can't handle all the power that's in there because originally it's just for a possession, not for All for One possession.
Yeah, and you couldn't have just his regeneration quirk that he said he had, because then he probably would have done this.
Right.
So maybe here's what my crazy theory is with the Doctor bit, is that the Doctor is the one that is trying to figure out how these human beings can retain their semblance of sanity and still get the powers of the Nomus.
Right.
So I don't think All for One wants to transfer just All for One to Shigaraki. I think he wants to give him the full suite. I think it's the idea of legacy. Like, maybe Shigaraki is his biological son. That would be pretty messed up and crazy. But I get the feeling that All for One is so old
All for One's
that he doesn't have any reproductive capacities anymore.
Maybe
he does.
Well, wait, that's actually a good question.
That's a good question.
Wait. Okay, how long ago was the fight with All for One and All Might?
5 years.
5 years. Okay, so he could have. So that means Shigaraki would have been born by the time that fight happened.
Oh, way earlier.
Way earlier.
So I get the idea that Shigaraki is around 25 to 30.
Okay. I could see him being younger than that just because he's going through sort of like the angsty teenage
stage. But I feel like
that's
the way he was... I feel like that's the way he's raised. I think it's also the idea that Shigaraki has gone through some intense training, and his face is a little bit messed up in some ways.
Right.
So he looks a little bit older than he probably is.
Probably.
Let's say as young as 20.
Sure. Yeah, I could maybe say as young as no less than 17, probably no less than 18.
Oh, geez. I
don't think he's going to be that young, but I'm just saying that's the lower limit on what I could think.
He calls the girl a brat.
That's true.
I get the feeling that is a tell that his age range is at least
in the early 20s.
Like early 20s at least.
Yeah, okay. Now, here's my thing, though. All right, so if he is actually the biological son of All for One, he would have been born before All Might came to kill him.
Right.
So maybe that was the sort of the whole point, is that Shigaraki was like his insurance or whatever. He found he found himself coming up against some sort of limit. Maybe he knew All Might was going to come to kill him. Mm-hmm. So he's like, okay, he pulled an endeavor,
right?
You know,
and an endeavor is kind of the world building build up to that.
Exactly.
The idea that he's wanting to find a way to surpass the quirk limit problem by biologically.
Right, but we don't know exactly what All for One's quirk limit is.
That's like, good point.
Maybe it's just that when he tries to put it into different, like, bodies or whatever.
Maybe that's why the Nomus exist. He does have a quirk limit, but it's like 250 quirks, or like 25 quirks, or
and he's
something.
Like, that's simply not enough.
Well, no, the idea is that anytime he gets an extra quirk, he can feel it wearing on him a little bit. So he has to give it away.
The Nomus are his hard drives, basically. His
backups. His backups.
His backup memory. Yeah.
He would be the person where he's constantly like min-maxing his own powers. He's like, this power like slots into like the 23rd of my 25 powers, so I'll get rid of the previous two and look for some new ones.
I really need to make sure I can get like one of those invisibility or erasing quirks. Those would really be great.
Hey, Shigaraki, do you want to? Nope, get away. Like Shigaraki like portals away. He's like, Actually, that is a good point. I feel like Shigaraki being there means that Shigaraki is either so loyal that he doesn't worry about that, or he already has a quirk that like compensates enough to where he doesn't need a portal quirk. Because I feel like he would take it.
You mean Kurogiri?
Did I say Shigaraki?
Yeah, you did.
I meant to say Kurogiri.
Yeah,
I meant to say Kurogiri. Kurogiri's portal quirk is so stupidly strong that I can't imagine Kurogiri being around Shigaraki. Oh, maybe that's it. He's saying, I'll let you keep your life and your quirk as long as you protect Shigaraki with your life.
Right.
And basically, he's got him on his own leash.
Well, Kurogiri could also... But it could also be a loyalty thing where Kurogiri...
I think it could be too.
Kurogiri is like the assistant to... what's-his-face in Daredevil.
Kingpin in Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly. I loved how that character was done. So if they do
probably
something
one of
like
the
that
best
with Kurogiri,
Daredevil,
that would be really cool, because that kind of loyalty is something that you don't often see in villains and stories, unless they go for some kind of like twisted like love or something.
Right, but the thing is that Kurogiri can't be that old, because you know, All for One is like 200 or something, or more.
Right.
So I get the feeling that maybe the thing with All for One is he's like All Might in that he finds people when they're kids, you know?
Sure.
And that Kurogiri might be one of those kids that he basically brought up. I get the idea that All for One is kind of like Father from FMAB.
Yeah.
But the idea is that he brings like people in as kids. That's why he brainwashed Shigaraki. So he is kind of his father. Mm-hmm. And in the same way, maybe Kurogiri was the older brother. You know?
Sure.
That makes sense.
That would actually, that would give a lot of explanation why.
And Kurogiri just has to have a familial, like, I want to help him understand. Mm-hmm. He's the hope for our, like, movement in society when we'll change things. Maybe he sees the villains.
They seem so different, though.
Well, they do seem different, but think about it this way. What if Kurogiri's reasons are pretty noble? It's just the idea that he can't side with the heroes because they can't help him. It's the idea of the villains never see themselves as evil. They always see their cause as just as right. But those guys are the pure crazy psychopaths. Right. It's kind of like this Toga, this crazy psycho girl with the vampire thing.
No, I think she
thinks I want to be Staney! I want to kill Staney! I'm like, oh no.
She probably thinks she's completely sane.
Well, like, I don't know. I think she's the type of crazy that would have a little bit of self-awareness. You don't think so?
I don't know. I think the craziest people are the ones that have no self-awareness of it.
Sure, that's true. That's true. Do you want to talk about those two?
Yeah, so...
Dabi is the name of the skin guy.
Right.
And Toga... She had another name, but
I can't remember.
I can remember it. But Toga, that's easy to remember. Toga and Dabi.
Yeah.
I really like their designs.
I do too.
But the fact that we kind of know what Toga's quirk is.
But do we?
But we
really?
do we? That's the thing.
Like,
I feel like both their quirks are going to be cool. That's why
yes.
they were brought in and not any of the other characters. Because there was a character who had like some kind of alligator look, like kind of a lizard look.
Yeah, and then there was someone else who had some kind of like rock look.
Right, they were like a big, like massive Hulk character.
Yeah, but it's like, oh yeah, we know those.
Yeah, we know those types of characters. Yeah. But these ones have quirks that aren't like necessarily obvious. It feels like they seem they could be. Like maybe his is that he's a zombie, like we guessed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And his is that, well, you can't stop me, and that's why he's kind of cocky.
Right, yeah.
He just keeps cleaning himself up a bit for society, because he keeps falling apart.
It's funny, though, because Shigaraki would actually be the best
perfect one to kill him. Yeah.
So,
and in a way, Toga probably couldn't stop him.
If she was a vampire, because he
might
has
not
no
have
pulse.
like blood or something
or
like that.
Right.
Or who knows. But yeah, I want to go on the idea that she's a vampire, because what if she's really old? And that's why she's crazy.
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe the blood drinking.
I think she wouldn't be as obsessed with Stain if she was older.
Really?
Yeah, because this seems like the kind of thing where it's sort of when the person's in that impressionable stage.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
And it you just,
you're saying she's the Harley Quinn of this.
Oh,
you don't know much about DC.
I don't, but absolutely.
You don't, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so she got impressed by the Joker, basically, and now she's like, oh, I love him. I want to kill him. You know,
I
it's
want
like
to be him.
Right, like that combo. I think is the perfect way to introduce a character dramatically.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like that's a special kind of crazy.
Right.
It's not that she's just inspired by him and wants to be like him. She wants to be him, and she wants to kill him. It's like the idea of killing
to show her appreciation.
Her appreciation, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
I feel like there's some kind of connection there in the idea of her character.
It's just one of those things where like the logic pathways. It's like it's going on. Yeah, admiration and stuff. Like, and then there's this just gap, this jump, and it just goes somewhere else. And it makes perfect sense in her mind.
Right. But to everyone else that's sane, we're like, oh. I feel like she couldn't do a true infiltrating then of the school, because she probably couldn't contain herself.
Exactly.
Also, she has fangs. Like, she literally has fangs.
Well, but that could just be the thing. Hey, don't discriminate.
Don't
based
discriminate.
On quirks.
This is my quirk.
Now, how she'll get past the robots?
I have just sharp teeth.
How she'll get past the robots if she's a vampire?
She has fake documents. She could say she's from another school in a different country, Jacob. And she's already gotten in there, and she's just transferred over here. Because my family moved here.
Yeah, or that's true.
There's a million reasons they can.
Yes, because if it was in the second semester of the year, they might not actually have new application things, then it might just be for those transfer situations. And even if she did have to do that, it could be that she has like the super strength from a vampire or
and
something.
This can show again how UA is failing their students by like not providing proper security and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, there's this person. Do they have parents? No, they all died. They both died the same day. You know, last year.
Convenient. Okay, so moving away from those characters, they had that bit where they were talking about not being able to save everyone, and the idea that All Might is smiling they're all smiling thoughtlessly because All Might is smiling thoughtlessly because he could just save. They believe he could just save all of them.
Right.
But Shigaraki brought up the point that Deku wouldn't be able to stop him from running wild in here and just killing 20 to 30 people. Nope. Are we gonna go full on terrorism in this like upcoming story?
No, the crazy thing though is that even though that's one of those like terror things or whatever, I get the feeling if Aizawa, maybe Aizawa and All Might would have different responses to that sort of thing.
Right.
But I get the feeling Aizawa might say something like, "Well, you know."
Oh no, that would be really cold.
With someone
like
he's like, I know you can't bear to think of it like this, but that person's going to end up killing a lot more than 20 or 30 people by the time we catch him. Like that's probably what's going to happen. So. You know, like, I don't know, but...
Yeah, I don't know if the show will go there.
Or maybe at least that's what Endeavor would have done. Like Endeavor probably wouldn't have cared. You know, he would have been like, oh yeah, I'll get the glory of stopping some villain. Oh, 20 people died. It's very tragic.
Well, no, I know Endeavor would maybe do that, but I feel like as a human being, not as a hero with status and stuff, the idea of letting a mass murder run rampant and stuff like that wouldn't necessarily be even a thing Endeavor would let do. I feel like I feel like you can't jump from abusive father to with wanton mass murder.
And
same with Aizawa. Just because he's cold.
No, I'm not saying that they would be okay with it. It's the thing of the saying of the lesser of two evils. It's like, okay,
I
this person's right here.
I will stop them no matter what.
If their identity was revealed right now, we would probably stop them.
I think that Aizawa is also better suited to deal with a
that's
person
true.
like Shigaraki.
Absolutely.
Yes, the difference.
If that was Aizawa's situation, he'd just be like,
Aizawa would be like, looks at him and be like,
he'd push his finger to his neck like himself, and he'd be like, oh crap, that's right. And then
he'd just stand up and he'd be like, He's like, do it. And he's like, oh crap. And he's like, no, Aizawa. Yeah. And then Deku rips off his mask. He's like, it was Aizawa all along. He's like, Nani?
No, or this. No, okay. This would have been so awesome.
Can we get serious discussion soon?
But just imagine if Shigaraki has his hand on Deku's neck like that, and then randomly Aizawa is walking around shopping for sunglasses or something,
and he's got sandals and shorts on and stuff, and he's like, oh, I cannot be seen. Then he's like, wait a minute,
and then Deku's trying to get his attention with his eyes, and he's like, oh, got it, and then just end it right there.
That would be funny to see Aizawa shopping and stuff, but yeah, it would break the story. The bit about All Might not being able to save everyone, and Deku asked him, have you, do you ever think about, not being able to save everyone? He's like, yeah, all the time, yeah. But the idea that Sakauchi, I think his name was, said every time you've shown up on the scene, you've always given it your all to help people. And All Might had that,
and you've always been able to save them.
All Might had that time where he looked down, there were shadows over his eyes, didn't say anything, and then it just moved away, and he didn't say anything after that. That is very much foreshadowing some reveal that All Might probably sacrificed some people for that fight 5 years ago.
Probably.
That's
and it was
the thing
probably
that makes
the previous
the most
one
sense.
for all.
I'll bet you that it was.
Yeah.
He stopped All for One, but at a great cost.
Right.
Maybe even he led All for One into a trap. And
using One for All?
The bait of whoever was the previous holder.
Sure.
They died.
And I'm pretty sure
at that point.
The previous holder was a lady. And I'm pretty sure there was some, insinuations that there was a thing going on between them.
That they loved each other?
Uh-huh.
I could see that. I could see that also being a thing where there's a little bit of too much of an age gap.
Not necessarily.
No. That's very true. That's very true. But I feel like All Might going to Deku as a kid and such, going to the school, UA in particular, to find a kid and such like this, is the idea that he wanted to do it like his master because he's not a good teacher, so he's kind of mimicking what...
Absolutely.
I'm guessing his master was probably an exceptional teacher.
Right.
And that's...
they still had... I don't know. They still had Gran Torino teaching.
That's true.
So...
That's actually a thing I was always a little bit confused by. Gran Torino...
Trained All Might.
Practical
training.
Why didn't they make a point about the previous One for All holder training All Might?
Who knows?
Did they die before All Might could get some serious training?
I don't think so.
I think the idea is that the previous One for All holder was friends with Gran Torino.
Right.
And the three of them were a crew together.
Yeah.
They were like a hero squad.
Sure. And the previous One for All holder probably had to do the One for All holding stuff.
2 guys and a girl, Ida, Uraraka, Deku.
Gran Torino is a bit older.
But he has the speed thing, jump jets like Ida.
He does.
Oh my gosh. It's true. Kind of a mirror thing. It works. True. Especially if she does end up being a girl. Because she did look like Teacher from FMAV.
Yep.
And I think this show definitely takes a lot of cues from Star Wars, but also FMAB with regards to anime, shonen in particular, that it's inspired by.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that thinking about that, it's a thing of where All Might tells Deku a lot of things.
Yeah.
but he intentionally leaves things out. He intentionally leaves a lot of things out because he is trying to Dumbledore this situation in a way.
Right.
He's trying to give the kid the highest chance of succeeding at fulfilling his goal.
Right.
Which is kind of funny because it's not necessarily Deku's goal. And the idea that he's going to be putting Deku in a lot of dangerous situations to where he might not end up living long enough to become the greatest hero.
Okay. I would say I was actually when you said that, I was actually thinking of the reverse, that All Might is actually doing what he thinks is best for Deku and while at the same time trying to balance that with what he needs to do to save the world, basically.
That's a very good possibility.
Because a lot of the times, the stuff that he telling him about All for One,
right?
That would have been very helpful if the only plan was okay, you need to take out All for One. That would have been the first thing to tell him, to be okay, so along with this power,
right?
There's a quest involved,
right?
You need to
it's not an easy one,
right? So,
but and
now we're going to train hardcore the entire time. Almost, you could almost forget UA, and just be we are going to get this thing done. Then we're going to Black Ops mission at the dead of night 20 years from now.
I feel like that's the wrong way to do it, but it is the way that Aizawa might have done it.
Sure, yeah. Aizawa probably would have done it.
But for
we're going to call up Aizawa first, and then we're going to.
But for All Might in particular, I feel like he's also wanting to help develop. In the same way as All for One is trying to develop Shigaraki's internals,
exactly.
He's trying to develop Deku's internals so that he knows what it's about, what being a hero is all about.
Right, because it's
before
not just
he does the hero things.
Right, because it's not just about defeating the bad guy. It's killing All for One. It's about raising the next symbol of peace.
Yes, exactly. And you don't want to leave your legacy to someone that you're unsure about their own ideologies and their own beliefs about how to apply this boon that you give them, this power.
Right.
With regards to Sakauchi's investigation and stuff, and the idea that he is kind of the main cop kind of involved in this whole thing, I feel like he's one of those characters that won't necessarily ever end up being a bad guy, but it's the idea that he could end up being a character that ends up kind of being a bit of an annoying problem. Kind of the idea that he's a public servant, right? Just as much as the heroes are. Mm-hmm. But he's tied by a different code than the heroes are.
Right.
He has a different obligation to the people.
Yeah.
It's to serve and protect, as well. But I get the feeling that he's potentially more of a bureaucratic problem at some point, even though he's All Might's personal friend as such. The idea of how the previous kind of police dog guy came in and had a little bit of that bureaucratic stuff.
Yep.
He could end up being that as well, especially if he sees All Might's fall. I think the idea that the villains could win at some point and All Might could fall would be the idea of Sakauchi finding out how much of a friend was he to All Might. I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a jump.
Yeah, maybe just a bit.
Yeah, but I'm looking for ways in which the villains could win, but not kill All Might.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea where they ruin the public perception of All Might.
Right. They destroy All Might. They might not kill him.
Right. The idea that All Might would be forced to pass the torch publicly.
Right. They kill him, but he doesn't die.
Well, no, but the idea that the way they beat him is they make him pass the torch publicly to Deku.
Right.
At what point?
Yeah.
Will that need to happen? I think it's still a long way off.
Right, because then the problem is people won't think of Deku as the symbol of peace.
And there'll be that transition period.
Exactly, and Deku will have to earn the respect of the public and the fear of the villains all on his own.
And also the idea that society as a whole is being literally held in peaceful standby mode
by the existence
of one person, which is a lot of weight.
Right, and the fact that one person is keeping a secret.
Yep. So the villains have all the advantages except for the good guys really having Deku as their secret weapon. I feel like All Might's power is probably strong enough that he could beat All for One, and that's why All for One isn't public, he's hiding.
Right. Yeah. In his current form, he's too weak.
And also, they probably don't have an army yet. They don't.
Right.
Have,
Exactly. The good guys still outnumber the bad guys by a lot
because the bad guys are afraid of All Might.
Exactly.
But what they can do is have this scale tipping where as All Might's as the public's perception of All Might goes down, the villains go up on the scale because people are like, oh, All Might's declining? Like, he's legitimately declining? Like, on the news, they show that one thing, the blah, 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 or what have you. Cool. Awesome. Then they grow, they grow, and then the scale gets so far out of balance.
Then it's like the last stand of the heroes, and that,
right.
I
really want to see that
happens. Like,
yeah. It'd be the idea of where the kids will become like frontline fighters,
or worse, they're on the run. Maybe Aizawa's leading them as they're like trying to stay in the shadows, and like
that sounds like something that could happen. But remember,
this
is called My Hero Academia.
Yeah, not My Hero on the Runia.
Yeah. Right. It's the idea that I feel like the school is going to be around for a long time in the story.
But they do kind of need to have a point where the school gets destroyed or taken over.
How long is it? 3 years? High school, Japan?
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 years at least in the school. They just finished one semester in 2 seasons.
But as you know, in Japan, your life ceases to exist after high school. There is no life out of high school.
So if they did 2 seasons per 3 semesters, 9 semesters, 18 seasons of My Hero Academia. Could we be looking at an 18-season show?
It's possible.
Wait.
No,
semester.
No, 2 seasons per semester, so 4 seasons per year.
But wait a minute.
12.
But
they're not.
But they're going into summer right now.
So they're not going to have a whole season for summer.
But no, my point is that this is the next year then, potentially. Unless, guys, correct us if I'm wrong, but
it's the in-between point for the years.
Do the school years in Japan start in September, or is that just a U.S. thing? That's a good point.
I think it starts in September, but the thing is, I believe in Japan, it's pretty normal to have stuff that still happens over summer, like summer homework or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think that's
and their summers are much shorter.
A lot of schools and stuff.
I think their summers are like 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Summer's pretty boring in Japan, I guess, like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, I don't really know of any like specific things to discuss. Poor mom.
Oh my gosh!
Mom,
yes,
being worried to death. Because as far as she knows, he's just been doing school. Like she doesn't know about USJ. Oh wait,
no, she knows about USJ.
She knows about USJ.
She knows about USJ. She knows about the tournament. But the idea that it's like, oh hey mom, after school with my friends, we're gonna go shopping at the mall. And then it's like, oh, by the way, he got attacked by
a villain who held him at throat point.
Right, with a contact disintegration.
I don't think they told her that.
Yeah.
I think this
is the results of what happens when he touches people.
I don't think they would tell him everything like that. I think the idea that your son was involved in a hostage situation. He's
with a villain
now.
Yeah.
So with the villain. We just wanted to let you know, and you come down to the station. Oh my god! And she runs down, and Best Mom just has like a breaking moment. Mm-hmm. I could see actually the mom being like, no, like this is not cool. Like,
okay.
Like kind of like just being upset like a lot with like UA in particular.
I thought you were gonna say that at some point the villains were going to go after Deku's mom.
I could see that too.
I could see that happening, and on the day that happens,
Aunt May situation.
That's
well, they did say
that's not
a lot of the commenters a long time back say that this show had some inspirations from American comics, and one of the biggest ones was Spider-Man.
That's true.
So that's true.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll just hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Well, season 3 we're really hyped about.
We absolutely are.
We're super hyped about it. And guys, we wanted to let you all know, especially if you're sticking around this long. Of course, we don't have an early access MHA for this, but next week we've got 2 things in particular that are
right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. If you're if you're seeing this right now.
Right. It's
right. Next week will be the discussion stream
exactly.
for My Hero Academia, and we will do a stream covering what we've watched thus far. We'll have a lot of fun, sit down and chat with you guys. That'll be next week. But
if you want to watch the first episode of our next show now, which is
Ancient Magus Bride.
Ancient Magus Bride.
The Patreons did a poll a while back,
right?
And this one was third place. Made
really Abyss close, tied almost tied for
with
second.
Made in Abyss.
Yeah,
Made in Abyss was replacing Psychopaths.
Yeah,
but But if you want to watch the early access first episode of Ancient Magus Bride, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon, and you can get on the Discord with that as well and chat with us about storytelling and what have you. But yeah, we'll see you all there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.